This is a meeting of the Southfield Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business, and is not to be considered as a community meeting. There is an opportunity for public participation during the meeting, and comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will listen to comments but may not respond during the meeting. If you are participating in person and you wish to address the board, please submit a comment card. If you are participating virtually and wish to address the board, please raise your hand when public participation arises on the agenda. Roll call. Charles Hicks, Board President.
Gerald B. Joyce, Vice President.
This meeting is being recorded.
Ashanti Bland, Board Treasurer.
Good evening, Trustee Rice. Did we get everyone?
Johnny Johnson, Board Trustee.
Yvette Ware-Duvall, Board Trustee.
Dr. Jennifer Green, Superintendent. Taking minutes and notes for the meeting is Ms. Laura Norris.
Okay. If we can say the Pledge of Allegiance at this time.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board matters. Ms. Norris, do you see, if you all can indulge, there's one item that's always annually a benefit to our students from the Optimist Club. And I wanted to allow Ms. Pagler an opportunity to speak if you see her in the attendees. And while we're looking, I just want to say, you know, our hearts, our prayers, and our thoughts go out to the families impacted by the tragedy out in Oxford. You know, that it hits home because that's in our county. It hits home because, you know, it helps open our eyes to things that we will want to make sure that we are paying more attention to as it relates to the safety of our students. I applaud Dr. Green and team. I applaud Chief Menifee, Chief Barron, and the
Chief
city.
McKee was here too.
And Chief McKee
Okay.
for providing the resources to continually serve and protect our community. And I'm sure that they are proactively putting measures in place to mitigate any potential risks to our district. And again, I say thank you.
Is it Diana Pagler?
Piglet.
Diana Pagler?
I don't see her. You see her?
Uh,
Diana Pagler.
Piglet.
Oh,
The masks are muffled. Okay, she's moved up.
okay. Ms. Pagler, you have the ability to unmute yourself at this time.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear
Hello?
you. Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Ms. Pigler.
Oh, okay, okay. Good evening to Dr. Green and the board of the Southfield School District. My name is Diana Pegler, and I am here to speak to you in my capacity as Civic Affairs Director for the Southfield Lathrop Village Optimist Club. The Optimist Club has been in existence since 1979, and our number one objective and mission is to do things associated with the youth in terms of programming. And beginning in 2022, we're going to have two major events that we do every year. One is an essay contest, and the other is an oratorical contest. The essay contest deadline is January 31st. Our program will be March 23rd at 6 p.m. The oratorical contest, the deadline is March 4th, and the actual event will be March 19th, 2022 at the Field Zone in Southfield. And for the essay contest, the theme is, how does an optimist outlook change my tomorrow? And for the oratorical contest, the theme is staying optimistic in challenging times. And with all that we've all been through in terms of the pandemic and many other unfortunate events, these two events are very important that our youth participate because our organization is all about optimism. And we have prepared a package of information to circulate, and we can send it electronically with the applications to submit for the essay contest and the oratorical contest. We also have the instructions, rules, and regulations regarding the activity. And lastly, in the packet, we have our Optimist Creed. And if you don't have optimism, what do you have? And so we encourage everyone to read that and find solace in reading the Optimist Creed. On the applications and instructions, we do have contact persons with regard to asking any questions that anyone may have. We're encouraging the Southfield School District to participate and our other partners who are involved in mentoring and developing the youth of our community. This encompasses the city of Southfield and the city of Lathrop Village.
Ms. Pegler, we thank you as always. Parents, I encourage you to have your students apply for this scholarship. I currently have two sons who are in college, one who was a recent graduate, and every year we have to fill out financial financial aid forms, even though they don't give us pretty much anything. But I had to remind my sons that they are broke. Because, you know, I think I've given them a false sense of reality, and that every dollar for every scholarship that they earn is $1 closer to getting a degree. So seek all opportunities, and we appreciate annually how the Optimist Club provides scholarships for community students. So again, Ms. Pegler, we say thank you.
Thank you.
For President, I'm sorry, if I may ask Ms. Pegler to forward that information directly to my email, and we will also ensure that we get it out through our communications director to our entire community as well.
Thank you.
Ms. Pegler, we thank you again.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Pegler, did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
If you could please share the when the opening and close of the application period is for this scholarship.
Yeah. When I send the package of information, I'll put more detail in the communication.
And we'll make sure that parents, you and your students will have information so that you can participate in this effort. Thank you, Ms. Pegler.
Thank you so much for the time.
Trustees, do you have any board matters at this time? Yes, ma'am. I think are you on mute? Yeah.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Here we go. I wanted to congratulate our BuzzFeed and Head Start program. We had a very successful meeting with the National Head Start team. So to Dr. Ferris, Director Hill, and the administration, thank you for including myself and Trustee Wordabali on that call. It was very informative, and to the community, it seems as though Southfield Public Schools is following and adhering to the guidelines and the advisement of National Head Start leadership. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that. And that's it for my board matters.
Thank you, Treasurer. Any other board matters?
If I may, through the board or through the chair?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So trustees, we'll have another opportunity to address the community throughout the meeting. We now would like to hear from our student board representatives, Ms. Divinity Davis from Southwood High School for the Arts and Technology.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Um, First, I just want to acknowledge the tragedy that occurred on November 30th at Oxford High School. Our condolences go out to those families who sent their children home. Who sent their children to school and they never came home, unfortunately. In light of the situation, Southfield will be implementing new safety measures after our upcoming Christmas break, which begins after this week and concludes on January 3rd. The safety measures will include not allowing students to carry their book bags or wear coats in the classrooms anymore. The items will be required to be put in a assigned locker. Student IDs will also be required to be worn. Um, and while we understand these precautions, there is some student backlash and feedback about these new policies because it is a lot of change for us, and we just trying to help ourselves understand like where the administration is coming from. But the principal did send a Google form to hear our feedback, so hopefully these matters will be addressed soon. We also have some new staff, including our newly added assistant principals, Mr. Sakar and Mrs. Powell, along with our security field officer Bolt and Officer Walker, because Officer Hood is being deployed. Um, our winter sports are in full swing with the girls' basketball season occurring, the boys' basketball season occurring, and the bonus season. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Trustees, any questions for Ms. Davis at this time? Okay. Ms. Payne from the University High School Academy.
Okay, hi. So we started out our November very nice, very mellow. We basically had a pink out that because we had a lot going on in October, we weren't able to fit it in. So we had it November 4th. But it really did show that the UR support for breast cancer awareness really does extend just past the month. And that was really good. It was a really good turnout, almost 100%. We had incentives such as the seminar with the most pink as well as the most donations. They got like breakfast and stuff like that. And that was really good. There were also incentives such as extra credit. In addition to that, we've also had many canned food drives, our most recent being 2 weeks ago, I believe, by both the middle schools and the high schools. Also really good, very nice to see like the charitable attitude at our school. Once again, incentives such as extra credit really helped the widespread participation. Once again, I would like to acknowledge the events at Oxford. I feel really bad for the victims and their family and the entire U community. We are extending our condolences and love and support in any way that we can. Because of that, a lot of our students that week were feeling very kind of traumatized. We've never really had such an event like that happen that close to us. And our just the staff, they felt it would be better if we just had school off those that Friday and that Monday in order to just take care of our mental health and for us to be with our families and loved ones in that very just scary time. Um as far as protocol, I don't believe we're taking it to the extent of A&T with the backpack checks. I just know that we are implementing Alice, which is the same response to lockdowns that Oxford had. And while there were still victims, their response was still pretty successful as there were a lot of lives saved that day. Um, and that's about it for that. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that our dean's last week is this week. We are definitely going to miss her so much. She is the core of our community, and it's going to be a really big loss for our community. But we are very, very excited for her as she enters these new endeavors, and we will just miss her so much. We are so happy that we've had her for so long, and I honestly, I'm just gonna miss her like a lot. But in light of that, we have been doing a lot of things to just show our appreciation for her. We have been decorating our doors. A lot of just nice messages are just displayed throughout our entire school. It's really nice. And then NHS, we have been we made a care basket which we're going to give to her on Thursday. So hopefully she doesn't see this before then. So it can be like it's with our well wishes and everything. And I would say that's about all that I have to report.
All right, thank you, Ms. Payne. Trustees, do you have any questions for Ms. Payne?
Board President, no questions, but per our message, I did want to lift to our student board members that they will have an opportunity to join you at your retreat on January 7th, the evening of January 7th, and all day on January 8th. Perhaps they're only there for a portion of the day because it's difficult for them to give up their entire Saturday knowing that both young ladies are working. So we will make sure that they get that information to join us in person. And with the state of emergency being lifted in the city of Southfield effective December 31st, all meetings beginning January 1st, 2022 will be in person and no longer be virtual.
So ladies, thank you, Dr. Green, thank you for reminding me. Ladies, this is going to be an opportunity for you all to come to us with, because you're the liaison and the voice of the students. And we hope that you come to us and you advocate on their behalf, so we can make sure that we are aligned with the pulse and the climate of the students and the things that they like to see within the district, because you are also not only just a customer of the district, but you are a product of the district. So we want to make sure that your voice is heard. We have things that we want to make sure that we share with you all, but we're also here to listen to you all as well. So we hope that you can make sure that you put that on your calendar, and that we look forward to meeting with you all in person and working with you collaboratively. So at this point, if you all are welcome to stay, but I'm sure you may have other homework or things to do, so you're excused at this time. We will now return the meeting over for the report of the superintendent. Dr. Green.
Thank you, Board President. And as you heard so eloquently from our students, Dean Williams will be departing our district on Friday. And while she has vested a significant amount of her life and career here in Southfield Public Schools, it will truly be a void when she moves on to the next chapter in her life. However, she has promised me that she is never going to be too far away, and we have her phone number, and she has committed to coming back and seeing off the class of 22 at their graduation. So we're going to hold her to that, and as long as she doesn't change her phone number and address, because we do know both of those, we'll keep her near. We do have some roses to present to Dean Williams, and we were hopeful that she would be here tonight, as well as a card. In her absence, we will make sure that we take those to her first thing tomorrow morning. As it pertains to the transition, I have had the privilege and honor. We have a lot of things happening in our district, and while I want to be at the helm of every single initiative, unfortunately, I can't split myself in two. However, I have been meeting with the stakeholders at the U. I've met with the parent group, the teachers, and had the privilege of meeting with student council to share their sentiments as it pertains not only to the characteristics they wish to see in the next dean, but also what traits, what programs, what foundational pieces they wish to see as we move the U to a new chapter in its trajectory as well. So I was very impressed with the young people, and have committed to stay in contact with them. The next phase will involve disaggregating all of the data that has come back to us thus far. We will draft a preliminary job description. We will take it back out to the stakeholders to see if we hit everything in our conversations, and then bring it back in. I've also had an opportunity to meet with some students from A&T. Beginning in January, recognizing the importance of student voice, I'm going to start a superintendent's advocacy or superintendent's advisory group, where I'll have students from all of the schools throughout the district meeting with me once per month to give us that additional voice, and lifting it from our pre-K babies all the way up to and through our graduates. And then eventually we'll get an alumni group to come back and meet with us as well. So that's one of the things on our radar. But we will continue to build out all of the programs we have to ensure that the legacy of the U and that of Dean Williams will continue in the work that we do. Moving on to the legislative update. There are no questions. There are a couple bills that I wish to lift to our attention. The Senate and House go into recess at the close of business today, and their business can be up until midnight, so I'm not sure when they're going to wrap up for today. But once they do, they will not return until the new year, that being January of 22. But there is a House bill that was on the floor, and I believe it made it to the Senate, and they voted on it this evening. That is House Bill 4293. The superintendents did support it because we recognize that we are in need of additional substitute teachers throughout all of the districts in the state of Michigan, but it does minimize the requirements for a substitute teacher. This takes away the certificate as well as the permit and affords anyone with a high school diploma to serve as a substitute teacher. So that's a double-edged sword for superintendents because we want those having been trained to be in front of our children, but we also recognize that there is a significant labor shortage and we need additional bodies. So we are in support of it. We do think that it will pass both the House and Senate and that the governor will sign off on it. So I did want to lift that for those individuals that perhaps graduated in the last few classes. They may wish to come back and serve in a substitute capacity with our district. I'll keep you posted as that progresses. And I may know by the close of business today because I've been in touch with both Senator Moss and Representative Bolden on that item. Also in your package, you will see MDE's top 10 strategic educational plan. Have had a number of conversations with Superintendent Rice and Middle Cities in regard to where the state is going. One of the main topics having been lifted is number 7, that of increasing the number of certified teachers in areas of shortage. So please review that at your earliest convenience. And when we come back for the retreat and or the next meeting, if you have any questions regarding this, please lift those and I will take them directly to Superintendent Rice because this is hot off the press and you may have some questions of which I don't have answers at this time, but I did want it to put it in your hands as soon as I received that item. Lastly, the emergency operations plans. I was glad to hear our young people acknowledge and express empathy towards those having experienced such a tragedy. You have various levels of trauma and tragedy having occurred there in Oxford as well as the surrounding communities, and it's impacted all of us. The legislative body of the Oakland School Superintendents and Oakland School Districts are seeking a state of emergency for the county, which would afford us an opportunity to leverage additional federal funds to provide for more mental health and social emotional supports for our students, staff, and families. That has yet to be approved, and I will keep you posted as to the progress of that request as we move forward. Lastly, and definitely not least, we will continue with professional development throughout this year and next year relative to our emergency operations plan. And we have some tabletop activities having been secured from Homeland Security, where our staff will be able to work on those during collaborative Mondays and become masters in emergency planning. It's sad that in 2021, that has to be such a significant focus, but that is where we are as a state and as a country. So that is at the top of our priority list. We cannot educate if we cannot keep everyone safe. So that will be a continued focus for the next 2 years. That is all that I have, Board President.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Trustees, do you have any questions for the superintendent? Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Green. Trustees, do you have any questions for the superintendent? Okay. Moving on to Treasurer's report. Treasurer Bland.
So our annual audit took place with Plan Moran. I am just going to give a general summation of some of the findings and just highlight some of the things that I believe that as a board we will want to discuss further. Through numerous partnerships and various private, state, and federal grant sources, the district was able to improve the general fund balance by $1.9 million. This strategic approach maintains compliance of Public Act 4 of 2011, Governmental Accounting Standards Board, GASB 54, and with Board Policy 6235, which states, to make the foundational support of the district as effective as possible, the board desires to maintain, in stable economic times, a fund balance of at least 10% of the district general fund operating expenditures. Their findings also suggested that if our district does not course correct for fiscal year 2022, that we could potentially have some financial and some fiscal irregularities. Our recommendations for these course correction would be increased student enrollment, increase student enrollment retention, and stay within our financial bandwidth. So trustees and board president, these are some things that I think we should discuss during our board retreat in January, so that we can get aligned and kind of expound and get into the meat of our audit. I would urge everyone to go through, highlight, and look at the recommendations and the informational items inside of this report. It is very thorough. It also speaks to how thorough our administration has been during a pandemic in which we could easily get off course. Lastly, I wanted to discuss the grant-funded hazard payments and additional work. In accordance with Board Policy 6110, which states the superintendent shall review new federal education legislation and prepare proposals for programs she or he deems would be of aid to the students of this district, the superintendent shall approve each such proposal prior to its submission, and the board shall approve all grants resulting from such proposals. As approved in the ESSER 2 grant application, the payments outlined as hazard pay to support staff time due to additional work, time spent, and duties beyond work hours will be dispersed accordingly. Let me say that we had a large amount of staff that went above and beyond the call of duty during this pandemic. And so the hazard payments that we will disperse, Superintendent Dr. Green and I, along with Dr. Ferris, walked through line item by line item, and we reviewed each and every hazard payment. I also would ask that you all consider that the ESSER 3 will be visited in January. So we will discuss those ESSER $3, and Planner Moran has also highlighted some information about ESSER 3 inside of their audit report for us if we would like to discuss that further. With this being the conclusion of the Treasurer report, I would like to move that someone motion to approve this report as delivered, if that is possible.
Motion that we move to accept the report as written and as read by Trustee Bland.
So just to recap, I'm not sure if you all caught it, the treasurer had requested that a motion be placed on the floor to receive the report of the treasurer, which included the audit. So trustee Yvette Werdeval moved for its acceptance, and trustee Rice supported. Yeah. Oh, so I need to also announce, I'm sorry, board secretary it's not in attendance tonight and has an excused absence for tonight this evening. She's under the weather. So in her absence, if Ms. Norris, if you can please call for the vote.
President Hicks,
Yes.
Vice President Joyce, Treasurer Bland,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Rice, Trustee Werdeval,
Yes.
unanimous.
Motion carried.
Board President, if I may just lift into the conversation, the hazard pay and additional work also covers all of the collective bargaining agreements having been ratified as well. Just for the
Thank you, Dr. Green. Action items. The chair will entertain a motion to open and approve the consent agenda, which includes minutes from November 9th, 17th, and the 23rd of November.
Support.
It's been properly moved and second to open and approve the consent agenda. Are there any corrections? Hearing none. Mrs. Norris, if you can please call for the vote.
Trustee Ware Duvall,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Rice,
Yes.
Vice President Joyce,
Yes.
Treasurer Bland,
Yes.
and President Hicks.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to open and approve Report 6034, Talent Management Personnel Action Report.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded to open and approve Report 6034. Are there any questions at this time, trustees? Hearing none. Mrs. Norris, please call for the vote.
President Hicks,
Yes.
Vice President Joyce, Treasurer Bland,
Yes.
Trustee Rice,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Ware Duvall.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Informational items. Dr. Green?
Thank you, Board President. Report 6035, technology person for purchase for TriCaster, and we may wish, if it's the pleasure of the board, to move this to action. TriCaster is the equipment utilized by M1 Studios to stream our board meetings live. And you've probably walked past that very large machine in the hallway in preparation for board meetings. As you've noticed, it is significantly antiquated, and without an upgrade, we probably are on course for a failure in the very near future. That being said, we are asking for support of the board to update our equipment in an effort to continue providing superior service for our families and our community with board meetings and complete transparency, especially with us returning back to more in-person meetings. We want to make sure that we have the capability to stream those live as needed. And we have the team here if you have any technical questions. That's not my area of expertise.
Trustees, any questions at this time? Hearing none. Next item. Let's run through these two, then we'll come back to that. Monthly financial report.
I'm sorry, Board President. Yes, the monthly financial report as well as the board disbursement report have been provided to all trustees. If there are any questions, we do have our CFO as well as our financial team on the line to answer any questions that one may have. However, as expressed by the board treasurer, you can see that we have recently gone through a very thorough annual audit by Plant Moran, and we are currently in the process of doing a systems check, which was the supplemental piece that we approved for Plant Moran relative to our P-card system, our Head Start programming, and always just making sure that our systems are top-notch as it pertains to accounting protocols and procedures. So if you have any questions, the team will entertain those.
Okay, seeing no hands for questions. The disbursement report.
Same with the bill disbursement report, Board President. We are diligent in paying our bills on time, which is why our credit rating, or affectionately known as the Moody's rating for school districts, has increased from that of a B to that of an A. We've been very diligent in making sure we stay within our financial bandwidth, as Treasurer Bland alluded earlier. So
Each month you get our bill disbursement report as presented.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Green. The chair will entertain a motion to open and approve Report 6035, Technology Purchase TriCaster.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to open and approve Report 6035. Any questions, trustees? Hearing none, Mrs. Norris, if you can please call for the vote.
Trustee Ware Duvall,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Rice,
Yes.
Treasurer Bland,
Yes.
Vice President Joyce, President Hicks,
Yes.
unanimous.
Motion carried. If you wish to address the board regarding a school-related issue that has not yet been resolved by school administration, please submit a comment card immediately. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention any persons by name. Complaints concerning employees pursuant to Board Policy 9130 should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the Board of Education. Your cooperation is appreciated.
So Board President, if I may, while we're gathering people for public participation, I wanted to address a matter that has been circulating most recently, that being the move from Southfield Regional Academic Campus to that of Southfield E&T. There's a lot of misinformation floating around, and as I alluded to earlier, I've been very actively involved in several transitions throughout the district. However, in my absence from some other transitions, I've found that misinformation has been circulating. That being said, I will be spending the next several weeks cleaning up some of the misinformation having been presented to our internal and external stakeholders. And I ask that anyone with concerns relative to this decision hold their comments until the board retreat on the 7th and the 8th of January, at which time we invite all to engage with our governing body and administration.
Makes sense. Any questions, trustees, on that before moving forward? Yes, ma'am. Let me just repeat it for you, Trustee Rice?
Excuse me, I'm having.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, just my question is that we'll hold on any changes until we are able to have that discussion at our board retreat.
That is correct. We return back to the district on the 3rd, and we will be meeting on that Friday. So if one will allow us the opportunity to course correct some of the misinformation having been provided. And as always, I take full ownership for misinformation having been shared from any member of our executive team to our internal or external stakeholders.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments at this time on that item, trustees?
I do have one question. Dr. Green, and I don't want to get lost in the fog, and you may have said it. So the actual move will not take place until a later date.
Well, as voted unanimously by our Board of Education, it was not scheduled to occur until second semester. At this time, we are in the transition planning logistical phase anyway. Okay. So we're going to pause where we are logistically until we have the conversation with the governing body on the 7th and 8th. And then if it is still the pleasure of the board to move forward, it will occur second semester or at a later date, just depending on what the conversation, the results of the conversation that we had at that time.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Norris, do we have any hands raised at this time? Mrs. Lasavage?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Some of you know me, and for those of you that don't, I'm a science teacher at Southfield A&T. I actually had Amani Johnson in class several years ago.
How did he do? Let's tell me.
He was a pleasure, for real. And I'm not surprised that he is where he is now. I've been in the district for over 20 years. I started at Lathrop, and I was one of the many, many teachers who experienced the poorly executed merger between the two high schools. I'm a grown-up. I know that most of the people who were in charge of that merger are no longer here, but I also know that that means the lessons we learned about how not to do things are also gone. In addition to being a teacher, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm an aunt, I'm a colleague, I'm a human being, and I am Jim Lesavage's baby girl. My father was a high school teacher for 30 years, and he would love it if I left Southfield because he is concerned about my safety. And I don't even tell him everything. So I thought about coming and I thought about not coming, and I'm here today to tell you that I'm suffering, and we are all suffering, the staff and the students. Now, yeah, Michigan and the whole world are suffering because of COVID and school shootings and gun threats, and those are affecting all of us, and they're things we don't have control over. But there are many, many things that Southfield Public Schools does have control over and is failing at every level. If you look at our absence rate in this district right now, it's not an indication of a lazy staff. It's human beings trying to stay alive. I'm here because I don't know if the board knows how bad things are. I have personally seen communications sent to parents and staff that include information that, based on my experience, is at best misleading and at worst deliberately inaccurate. And I can express those later at a later time. Recently, A&T staff filled out some surveys of issues and concerns, and I don't know if the board is privy to those, but if you could get access, it might be eye-opening just to get a perspective that you might not be getting in your positions. It's already been mentioned, Southfield A&T does not have an emergency safety plan. I've had 6 principals in 7 years, so I guess it's not a surprise that we don't have any consistency or order. There's several classrooms in the building that don't have working PA systems. And yes, this is a known fact. And at 3 separate meetings, they said, yes, we've known this for a while and we're working on it. Well, at some point, something has to happen. And the walkie-talkies are being instituted, I think, this week. But this is an indication of a systemic issue, not an isolated issue. Here's an example from me. In March 2020, when we returned from virtual learning, I did not have HVAC in my classroom. I have not had HVAC in my classroom since March 2020 until this morning. I have submitted maintenance requests every month. I've talked directly to humans. I've sent emails. We've gone through School Dude. Today I went to the top. I have airflow in my room for the first time in 10 months. It was fixed in 15 minutes. And the person who fixed it said, I never knew about this. But this morning when I came into my room, it was 54 degrees. That's not a good learning environment. Today, I stopped my academic lessons to address the emotional needs of my students and let them be heard because they don't feel heard.
So Ms. Lesavage, well, first of all, let me say thank you. You echo many of the concerns that I've had, and I believe many of my peers have had for quite some time. As a product of this district, I mean, I graduated 30 plus years ago, and unfortunately, many of the things in this building are very much the same as they were when I was a student, and that's unacceptable. The board has been talking about a capital campaign to do not just remediation, but to do construction. It's time for us to update our buildings. It's time for us to make sure that we have the tools and the resources to support our students. And we will be proactively working with the city and the community to help us get the funds that we need to do our remediation and construction. I do want to come back to your very first statement. I mean, typically the board doesn't respond directly, but some of the concerns you lift, I just want to make sure that you hear directly what are the things that I believe that are on our vision. Southfield does have an emergency response plan. And the reason why I know that is that
a few years back, I was at Parkland, and and I was on vacation down there when that event happened. And at that time, I had asked the interim superintendent at that time to make sure that we have plans in place in the event of an emergency. Now, I believe that there's always opportunity for enhancing and improving. And I believe that over the course of the last couple of years, we continually look at what's happened in other districts and how can we risk mitigate those things within our district. So I want you to know that the statements that you're making are very well received. And I believe that we will be having a comprehensive plan on how we will address and continually improve our district. So I want you to work with us, stay tuned. I heard your concerns, and just we hope that you can help work with us to make the vision reality. Mrs. Norris? Are there any other hands? Oh, Mrs. Wright.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Andrea Wright, 20981 Harvard Road, Southfield, Michigan. Area Council, Southfield Area Council President. I have a question. I'm not sure had this question or had we updated the community on regarding Mr. Goldberg. Several meetings back, his concern was to purchase our buildings. Have we reached decision on that? And if so, have it been communicated? Because I haven't seen any communication on that level. Have we made a decision on selling the buildings? And then also, will the community know exactly the worth of all the buildings, so we can be in the loop of that as well? And to piggyback on the teacher, I think our district need to work on our communication. Dr. Green's JWE communicates, but we have to work on each building communication where there's not a communication breakdown, because we're doing a good job, but our good job, you know how it says, don't let your good be evil spoken of. So there's a breakdown, and we need to do better because we're a great community. And we have all the people, all the things in place, but we just have to make sure we're executing them to the fullest so no one feel like they're being left out. And that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Wright. So again, not to say that we respond to every comment that's lifted in real time, and as long as the board doesn't throw a rock at me, I'm going to respond to your question. Related to the disposition of buildings, what the board had instructed me to do is to place that as an agenda item for our upcoming retreat, for us to see how any sale of any property aligns with the overall vision of the district. So we wanted to make sure that we've updated our vision to see what are our next steps, and then make a determination on any offers for property as presented to the district. As I had mentioned in previous meeting, that the district, well, one, we're not in the business of selling property. We're not realtors, but we want to make sure that whatever offers that are presented are offers that are for fair market value of the land, so that we can make sure that we are doing the best interests of the district in any possible disposition or possibly any possible repurposing of any building for future need. And in order for us to make that determination, the board has to have communication and drive to a decision. And then after a decision is made by the board, I will communicate that out accordingly. So at this time, no offer for property has been given a final determination, yes or no. At this time, it's just more of a thank you, and please continue to be patient with us. Now, as far as the communication, I'm going to defer that to Dr. Green, and then she'll make sure that you get a response back on that one, because I don't want to get hit by a rock on both sides. So thank you very much. Any other hands Okay, if Suzanne, I'm sorry I didn't say your last name. I don't have my glasses on. But if you have the floor at this time.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. My name is Susan Yagisian, and I'm the parent of two Southfield High graduates. Quite a long time ago, when my children went to school, we didn't have to have uh, metal detectors, and we didn't have to have school safety drills. And I am here to talk to you about what I think would be really, really important is of all the things that we're talking about to make our kids safer, is that we need to have some gun violence prevention education. And that should be directed toward the adults, not the children. Children are not responsible for their behavior. We know adolescents even are not able to act as adults. So I have a program called Be Smart for Kids, and it has a website called Be Smart for Kids. I'd be really glad to present more information about it at a later date and send information to all the board members. We really have to be proactive about kids not getting a hold of guns. And this is not just for school shootings. We're talking about suicide. We're talking about homicide. We're talking about a really big issue. School districts in this area are considering this Be Smart program, and also considering safe storage resolutions. That is, sending a message home to the parents that if they have a gun, we expect them to keep it locked and unavailable to children. And to me, this is like getting vaccinations when you start school. Adults need to promise to do that. 80% of the active shooters got their guns from inside their home or a relative's home. 350 children unintentionally shot someone last year, and 1,200 children used a gun for suicide. We need to, as well as be proactive about bullying and mental health, we also need to be proactive about guns in the hands of people who shouldn't have them. So my wish to you is to send you more information about Be Smart. We have twice a month, we have a program, video presentation. It's 20 minutes. Anyone can view it, and we'd like to present that to the school district generally, first to the board, obviously, but also make it available to the parents in the system, and make parents responsible for the guns that are in their home. So I'll be sending more information. I'm hoping that you will take this into consideration.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And I believe Dr. Green had a couple of things she wanted to say to you at this time.
Thank you, Board President. Yes, we are in receipt of your communication. I believe that Chief Barron did a virtual introduction between your organization and our Executive Director of Community Schools, Mr. James Jackson. We'd like to get a meeting between the administration and your team as soon as possible. And to your point, it is imperative that our parents are part of the conversation, which led me to my comment that Chief Barron and his team, as well as the district in Oakland County and Lathrop Village, are taking every social media threat seriously, to the extent that if there are registered weapons in a home of a student having made a threat, they are confiscating those weapons as well when they come out to the homes and do searches. So parents, I know while you are purchasing things for your protection, and that's your right under the Constitution, know that the conversation between you and your child right now is more important than ever, given that you may lose the privileges having been extended to you to have those items in your home, because the safety and security and wellness of all within the Southfield Public Schools remains our top priority. It's also important to note that when neighboring schools not affiliated with Southfield Public Schools have certain threats, it involves Southfield Public Schools as well, because they are in close proximity to our main campus. Therefore, we are in constant communication with the Southfield PD and again, Lathrop, as it pertains to those alleged threats as well. And each and every one of them are thoroughly investigated. And those children are not brought back to the school district until we are 100% sure that the allegations were false. And even then, many are subject to discipline under our student code of conduct and or could be charged, because all cases are referred to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office once they leave the Southfield PD.
So, Dr. Green, I guess my ask would be, there's several articles that I've read recently about people who've made false allegations or threats or provided information that was almost like a terrorist act. And those who were caught are very remorseful, but at that point, law enforcement, the courts, they're not playing, and those folks who were caught are being subjected to serious time. So I want to make sure that we are making sure that our parents are aware, that they have conversations with their students, that this isn't a joking matter. This isn't about getting extra time off. Kids' lives are at stake and are being thrown away over a mistake.
Board President, you hit on something very important. It is considered domestic terrorism. You can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. It's very similar to what is happening on social media. So it's not only for our students. Unfortunately, we have some adults that are joking with other adults relative to these matters. And this is not, it's not comical. I mean, this is the most serious thing that could occur in a school district, in a mall, in any community, to the extent that when we do the ALICE training, the OTAC, which is the Oakland County Tactical Unit, we're discussing having an entire community training, not only for those within the school district, but for our families, for our surrounding businesses, for our residents, because their lives matter. All Southfield lives matter. All Lakewood Village lives matter. And we want to ensure that we're doing our part to keep everyone safe. We are proactively seeking trainer certification for several individuals within our district through the ALICE program, at which time we would be able to train others throughout the community and definitely throughout our district. So we are looking to keep everyone safe, which falls under our community schools umbrella.
Excellent. Mrs. Slate.
Good evening. My address 17539 Westland Avenue in Southfield, Michigan. Just had a quick comment after talking with a few of my colleagues. And the question came up whether or not the board would consider making themselves a little bit more accessible to staff in terms of voicing concerns or just listening. Or making yourself accessible, like during our staff meetings. Not every staff meetings, we understand you all have lives outside of the board, but it's just something that many people, as the first teacher, I believe, they don't feel that they're being heard. And that's not a slight against Dr. Green or her administration. That's just overall. So that's just one thing that I said I would mention, on behalf of the people that were just saying that was something they would like to see more board members in the buildings. And I understand with COVID and everything, that issue. But outside of that, most of our meetings, at least I know ours are still virtual. And that you can just pop in and, make yourself known. Because a lot of people don't even know who you all are unless they live in the community. Or unless they're, like me, a concerned person. So, staff just wants to feel like they matter. And many of us don't feel like we matter. So it's just something to consider. Or maybe if perhaps you all can join Dr. Green when she has her meetings with us on Saturdays, if that's possible, or if that's something she's open to. Just something just to consider.
So, Mrs. Slate, I think, speaking on behalf of the board, we believe that all stakeholders matter within the district, and we will work with Dr. Green to figure out how we can, collaborate and make ourselves more visible at your meetings and with staff. Personally, I get a lot of phone calls and requests from community in general with questions on, a variety of things. And I try my best to accommodate all. So I would say that we'll discuss how we can make ourselves more accessible with Dr. Green in your meetings. So stay tuned. Are there any more? Okay. Trustees, anything for the good of the order? Trustee Rice?
Your mic.
Okay. But in our last board meeting, we kind of talked about the stakeholder mission and vision survey going out. Looks like we will be looking at sending that out the 1st of January. But we'll still have an opportunity to get that information back in time for our board retreat come January 7th and 8th.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Rice. Anything else for the good of the order?
Through the chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, because you didn't get to do it.
I just have a couple of comments as it relates to the tragedy that we have experienced. It has been an extraordinary year going through COVID with a layer, with a layer now of the tragedy that has happened in one of our neighboring schools. As it relates to our board policies, and things were kind of coming to the surface, I just want to be certain and guaranteed as a person, a human, a parent, someone who wants to serve our community and our children especially, that our building administration is completely and utterly clear on any direction that they need to take in order to keep our children safe. Just going through the policies, and uncovering just expulsion, and knowing that 5600 and 5605 is in your wheelhouse and in your power to maintain a level of safety if you need. There were some other folks that had mentioned keeping the children safe as it relates to our parents. There's not a lot of policies that we can put in place for parents here, but we do have policies in place for our students. We have 5610, emergency removal, 5610.2, in-school discipline. And again, for our professional, I'm sorry, that was 3217. These are all our policies, and we need to make sure that we are aware of them so that we can have a level of expectation for our students that are coming into our buildings, and our building level leaders, knowing what your power is in your building. It was really a trying time, and things are still unraveling. I respect all of the teachers who are now nurses and police officers and moms and dads, and I understand the level of stress that you all are experiencing. But please,
Ashanti's gonna do it.
You're not on mute, President, and
Whoops.
And just understand, parents, that we have a level of responsibility to each other. And that's just what I wanted to lift this evening. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Just to piggyback on what Trustee Werdeval just said, I would like to urge our community, especially our parents, to consider that you signed and your students signed a code of conduct and a handbook. And I would ask everyone to just refer back to that at their earliest convenience and go over with your students, just to make sure they understand the rules, the policies, and just how things work in the district. And last but not least, our board in our district is going to be losing a member of our team, Mrs. Laura Norris. And oh, she is shaking her head. She does not want this, but I would like um, to thank Mrs. Norris on behalf of the Southfield Public School Board of Education for all that you do. Um, you're an awesome person. Many of you don't know, but your agenda, all of the things that you see posted on Board Book, that's Mrs. Norris. And oftentimes we are receiving emails from Mrs. Norris at 10 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And she's always at our beck and call. So we hate to lose you, but we definitely appreciate you. And just know you can always come back. Um, and we just wanted to give you a little token of our appreciation, and let you know that we want to wish you a happy holiday, you and your family, and you will be sorely missed. Um, so,
Dr. Green?
Board President, if I can just add, because I know that the rumor mill is already starting, because there's this misconception that every time someone leaves our district, it's for something negative. So let me just stop and address that right now. Ms. Norris actually resigned from Southfield Public Schools in December of 2019 because she relocated, and she is over an hour and a half away from Southfield right now. But once the pandemic hit, Ms. Norris was committed to staying with us because we were her extended family. And she has worked diligently for the 2 years of the pandemic. And she said, Dr. Green, it's time for me to go. And I've been holding on by a thread, but we are extremely grateful for your service and support that you have given us an additional 24 months away from your family, making the commute, making sure that we were whole in Southfield. So I just wanted to publicly state that before the rumor mill gets ahead of itself this evening. And as the board already stated, you will always have a home here in Southfield. Thank you.
You're definitely going to be missed. We wish, you continued success and health, and keep in touch with us. Okay. Trustees, anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none. Future meetings. Tuesday, January 11th. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So our board retreat will be January.
The evening of the 7th and the
I
morning
forgot
of the
that
8th.
quick.
And board trustees, please know that without Ms. Norris, your minutes may be delayed, and I'm going to have to listen to the recordings and type them up in the middle of the night. So please show me grace and mercy as I learn board books and a few other things as well.
Okay, next regular board meeting, January 11th, 2022, 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, special board meeting, which will be at 6 p.m. Happy holidays, and we hope that you all have a safe and enjoy your time and family, and see you in 22.
Good
Meeting
evening,
adjourned.
everyone.
Good evening. Be well.